Hey there, gang. Welcome to the podcast. Before we jump into this great content today, a couple of big announcements. First things first, Christy has spent the last 3.5 years working for two amazing online platforms, Talkspace and BetterHelp. And if you wanted to work with her, you had to go through them. But she's going home. Yep, she's going back home to Barnhill Counseling in Sugar Land, Texas. And you might be asking yourself, wait a minute, you guys travel on the road. How's she going to do that? She is going to be their virtual counselor. If you've wanted to do practice with Christy, you wanted to work with her, she is now going to be available there. You can find her by going to barnhillcounseling.com under therapist, and you'll be able to book time with her. Again, a virtual tool, no matter where you're at, no matter where she's at, you'll have the opportunity to work with her. And again, you're going to love it. Trust me. Second big announcement is we're going to be doing a Cupid Challenge 2024. We have done this a couple times in the past. It is a lot of fun. We have a great time with it. Starting February 1st through the 14th, Valentine's Day, which is our anniversary, by the way, we will be running the Cupid Challenge. Now, it's pretty simple. Every day we're going to send you out a video with a little something to do. It's going to be short, sweet, easy. Some of that's going to be fun. It'll be encouraging. Some of it may be a little romantic since we're talking about Valentine's Day, but it's a great, great gift to give your spouse. And oh, by the way, a great gift to give yourself. And that you, when you're doing that work, you're going to have a good time. And again, we'll have stuff on Facebook about it. We'll have stuff everywhere. But to sign up for it, so you get the email with the video every day, you need to go to yourmarriagematters.com/CC24. It's scrolling down below me here. And you can sign up there. And on the 1st of February, we're going to send out the first video, and we'll do one every day. It's a blast. Now, let's jump into the content. This is good stuff today. If you've ever wanted to change something in your life, you wanted to make a change for the better and everything, it all starts with our conversation today about core beliefs. It all starts at core beliefs, right? And so today we've got 3 really cool conversations for you. Let's jump into the content. Let's have some fun. We'll see you at the Cupid Challenge here. Take care, gang.
Well, hey there, gang. It's Jim
and Christie
Jacobus with Your Marriage Matters podcast number 172. Gang, this is a podcast where we share with you the strategies, tactics, skills, and mindsets that we all need. Babe, you and I both, all right? In order to have the marriage that we dreamed of when we said, I do, baby, happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And Happy New Year to everyone out there. I love fresh starts, new beginnings, new years. And I'm really excited about 2024. A lot of really great stuff happening. And speaking of things that are great that are happening, today is actually your birthday. So happy birthday, Jim. So
thank you.
So when you think about celebrating special days, what comes to mind for you?
Well, I think about the fact that you always do such a great job of making my birthday special and everything. And talking about marriage, one of the things that we have learned through the years is we both have a completely different idea of what a great birthday is.
Right.
Yours is a lot of action and people and parties and blah, blah, and mine is I like peace and quiet and time with you and my annual or semi-annual chocolate cake.
There you go. So, well.
And I'm excited about, we've got a lot of stuff going on this year. As I said in the announcements a while ago, tons of cool stuff going on. But babe, we are kicking off a great series here that I am really excited about.
Right. And as we just said, for the start of the new year, it's a great time to look at foundational things. And what we're going to be talking about this month is the blueprint for marriage. And if you think about a blueprint is something you're going to use as you design something of importance, something that you want to have lasting value. So in this particular case, the marriage blueprint is going to go over foundational aspects of your marriage. And I'm really excited about sharing some of the thoughts with our couples out there and having it as a review for ourselves.
Absolutely. Gang, one of the things that Christy and I both have learned, she as a counselor and me as a coach, is that there is a continuum of ideas or a process, if you will, that we go through in life. And that is, we have core beliefs. Those core beliefs create thoughts. Those thoughts create actions. Our actions create habits. Habits create our behaviors. All of that adds up to our character. And at the end of the day, that is the legacy that we leave behind. And many times, babe, I know you've experienced this. I've experienced this as a coach. I would start off working with somebody and I would start down at that behaviors area and try to
Yes.
help them with the behaviors or the actions that they were doing or the character problem, only to realize, I think a little bit after I got maybe a little more of a conscious, competent at coaching, that everything started at the core beliefs. And so I go back to the core beliefs and try to figure out what's going on there.
Exactly. And sometimes when we see the outward expression through the behaviors and the actions, but it a lot of times goes back to more simple or foundational things. And when we're talking about, all of these aspects in the blueprints of marriage, it does start with core beliefs, the most foundational and important.
Yeah. And again, I know you've experienced this. You probably didn't take as long to figure it out as I did, but whenever I was trying to help somebody with behaviors and everything, and I didn't dig into why did they believe, what was the thought that came out of that, what was the action they took, how'd that become a habit, how'd that become behavior. If I didn't go back and figure out what the core belief was, I kind of felt like I was playing that game of whack-a-mole that you see at Chuck E. Cheese or some of the kids' places, where one of it pops up and you whack it on the head and you get a score for it, but it goes away and it just pops up somewhere else.
Exactly.
And I've had clients like that. I know you have as well. So we're going to walk through the first 4 of those over the next 4 weeks. We're going to talk about core beliefs. We're going to talk about thoughts. We're going to talk about actions. We're going to talk about habits. And that's going to be our plan for January, sweetheart.
So it's important that we start off with what are our core beliefs? What does it mean to have core beliefs? And what core beliefs are is the foundational convictions and assumptions that are deeply ingrained within a person, and it shapes their views about everything. It shapes their worldview, how they feel about themselves, and it influences their thoughts and behaviors. So a lot of times core beliefs are so ingrained in us that we don't even really have to verbalize them. It's just a part of our DNA. It's part of who we feel we are and everything. And it's so much of a basis of how all the other things come from. Everything stems from this belief about ourselves, that's why I think we start with this. And when something's a problem, we go back and assess and look at this. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I was going to ask you, where are some of the places that these core beliefs come from?
Well, oftentimes the first thing that you think of is your family of origin, the formative years of growing up, those friends and people who were influential in your life. You oftentimes say the address you grew up in is really important in establishing our core beliefs. How we feel about ourselves, how we feel about ourselves in the world can also be influenced by culture, by society. Certainly kids growing up in the 2000s have different core beliefs than we did growing up in the 80s and 90s. So I think it's important that when you look at core belief, all the things that could influence them. And like I said, probably nothing more important than the things that happened during our formative years with our family and close friends and, of course, society.
Yeah. And gang, we have tons and tons and tons and tons of core beliefs. Obviously, we're going to focus in this week on 3 core beliefs about marriage. But we have both good ones and negative ones, if you will. Babe, I don't think I have any negative core beliefs, but maybe so.
Well, I'll admit that I have several beliefs about myself that are negative. And a lot of times when I'm talking with clients, we have to get to those intrusive thoughts or core beliefs that are negative about themselves and how they view themselves, because that can be the root of a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So,
well, babe, so here's an example of a really positive core belief, and it's one that you or I are in pursuit of. We'll talk about it more later on in this podcast, but we'll also talk about it in the next couple of weeks as well. And that is unconditional love, the kind of love that says, babe, I'm here. I love you. I love the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm not going anywhere. no matter what you tell me, no matter how you share with me, no matter how transparent you are, I am absolutely going to love you. And the best example of that is how God loves us. God loves us unconditionally, no matter how far we run, no matter how long we run, no matter what we do while we're running. God's always there and loves us and is glad to be our Father. And that is the best kind of love there is. And then, babe, I know you see it, I see it, and we're both guilty of this negative connotation of the same thing, which is conditional love that basically says, I will love you if you. I will love you when you. I will love you as long as you. That's not the kind of love that you and I are in pursuit of. But at the same time, we can be guilty of this.
Right, exactly. It's a performance-based expectation, a performance-based love, if you will, that if you do this for me, then I'll love you. And my love becomes a byproduct of what you're doing rather than something that's just innate within us. So I think it's really important that when you look at some of the positive and negative core beliefs, you take some time and say, how is that impacting my life? How is that impacting my marriage, my relationships with others?
Yep. And we would call this the way the world loves each other, the way we love each other from a worldly point of view. And again, we're more interested in pursuing the first, the God love kind. And in doing that, babe, we could have easily come up with a dozen core beliefs about marriage, but we came up with 3 in the spirit of being a little more efficient with our podcast and zeroing in. And you had the first one, which you affectionately call the 3 C's. I hear you talk about it all the time.
I think one of the things that happens when you get married or when you're in a serious relationship with another person.
Well, hey there, gang, real quick. I want to encourage you again to join us for the Cupid Challenge 24. It's going to be a lot of fun, gang. We do this in the past. And again, it's just so much fun. We have so much fun doing it. But like I said, it's going to start February 1st. It's going to go through the 14th, which is Valentine's Day, our anniversary. And every day we're going to send you out an email with a short little video, a little bit of something to do. It's short, sweet, it's not difficult. And it'll be fun. It'll be encouraging. Every now and then it'll be a little bit romantic, if you will. And like I said, it's a great gift to give yourself because you'll enjoy doing it. It's a great gift if you do it together in your relationship. But we invite you to join us. You can sign up down below here at yourmarriagematters.com/CC24. yourmarriage.com/CC24. Let's jump back into that conversation about core beliefs.
Is you have a desire to help them become better or different. And the 3 C's can be the reminder to all of us, I cannot control, I cannot cure, and I cannot change another person. We have this belief that we can. We have this belief. I as a counselor, when I first heard that, because I wish I could give credit to the person I heard it from, but when I first heard it, I think my counseling clients come to me so I can cure them and everything. And the truth of the matter is they have to work to cure themselves. I cannot force somebody to change. And I cannot control their behaviors. And a lot of times when we do that, the often fallacy, I remember when I was in my counseling program many years ago, one of the very first things I heard is counselors don't give advice. And I thought, well, why would somebody come to you and you don't give them advice? Because if they're not ready to change, if they're not ready for their own health and growth and cure, if you will, then you cannot mandate that it happens and everything too. So I think it's important that we realize the 3 C's. I can't control, change, or cure another person. That is their responsibility and their accountability and everything. And once we remember that the only person I can change, the only person I can somewhat control is myself, then it gives me a freedom, and it gives you a freedom to say, I'll support you any way I can, but I can't do it. And the unfortunate thing, and I'll touch on this real quickly, is we think if we put enough pressure, enough pain on somebody that they're going to do what you need them to do. If they have a habit or an irritation or something, if I just increase the volume of the way I talk to them, or if I just increase the pain under which they feel guilt and shame, that they're going to change. And that may occur, it may happen, but it's a lot of times it's short lived and it comes at another price. And that is the trust that they have in you, that
Yeah.
you accept them as who they are. So,
Yeah. Well, and again, I think of our early days of marriage. I was so guilty of controlling behavior because of the address I grew up at and some of the things I went through when I was young, that if I just controlled everything, then I would never be disappointed or hurt or anything like that. And that didn't work very well. But you and I actually, we created some change, all right, by doing some things healthy. We came at this deal with a different core belief about time.
right.
Is that fair to say that we
Oh,
had
yes.
a core belief about time?
It's one of those things that I think marriage is a great way to look at the differences. It's a great way to have like a mirror into some of the things you want to improve. And I was not time oriented at all. Not only was I not one of those people who was prompt or good with time, I just didn't realize how important it was to
Yeah.
be on time. And who do I marry? I marry someone who is very precise on time, very good at time. I'm still amazed that when we take long trips, I can say, "What time do you think we'll be there?" And within a couple of minutes, and I'm talking 5 and 6 hour trips, you will estimate, what time we're going to be there. So our challenge was our different, not only our different orientations about time, but our different attitudes about time. And it led to multiple challenges and problems and issues and arguments and fights about the issue of time.
Yeah. But here's the good news, gang, is that as time went on, no pun intended. As time went on, though, and we grew and we learned and we created healthy boundaries in both directions, by the way. Yeah, I'm a Lombardi time guy. 15 minutes early is on time. Here's where we are today, though, because of our shared belief in what marriage is all about. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Is that now Christie is very punctual when need be. And I have learned to relax when it doesn't matter. And so, babe, I think we've actually reached a really good healthy medium for Team Jacobus by both of us learning to meet in the middle. And that's really how we create change in our relationship, not by force, not by coercion or threats or any of those kinds of things, being angry and frustrated and all that, but by literally sitting down and saying, "Hey, what's in the best interest of the marriage?" And we do that. So what are some ways that people can, if their spouse has a problem, all right, time, and I have my own shares of problems, like I get easily frustrated, or I'm maybe overly competitive sometimes, maybe. All right, what are some healthy ways people can help each other change and help the marriage grow?
Well, I think one of the things, if you come to the realization that we're all a work in progress, we're all trying to do the best we can, that way you can kind of look at it through the lens of grace, that we all are working on our desires to get better.
Yeah.
And to also appreciate the person. There's an appreciation. Living with somebody, being their roommate, brings up all sorts of irritations. We are not the same people. We have different core beliefs, different values, different ways of doing things. And I think if we have an acceptance for that person and everything, I think that's pretty foundational.
Yeah.
But another thing is to set healthy boundaries, to set boundaries for that person of saying, okay, here's what's going on, and I'm not going to deal with your lack of organization. I really get frustrated. When this happens, I think too, you have to start with acknowledging what the problem is so the person can make the change. To just assume somebody can read your mind is oftentimes so unfortunate. It's not productive at all. So I think there's a couple of things you can do. And like I said, start with, having gratitude for the person, work to change the things that you can, accept the things that are outside of the realm of your changing. And change is difficult. Change of things that you've done or become habits is hard. So, have an appreciation for that too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Luke 6:41-42 basically says, "Get the plank out of your own eye before you try to get the speck out of your brother's eye." And we translate that to, Jim, get the plank out of your own eye before you try to get the speck out of Christie's eye. And it goes so far as to go, "Jim, you hypocrite." I think whenever we are self-aware enough of our own shortcomings, then we're a little more gracious toward our spouse whenever they have shortcomings. And Matt Barnhill says this. Maybe sometimes it doesn't matter. Just overlook it. What difference does it make? And I'm trying to get better at that. If you're a few minutes late and it doesn't really impact anything, what difference does it make? It's not like you're out there trying to make me angry or anything. It's just you got caught up in traffic, or you might have misjudged how long it would take to go from point A to point B. Just say.
That's probably more likely.
All right. So core belief number 2, though, I think, babe, is actually the best antidote to not trying to change anybody or control anybody or cure anybody. And that is actually to individually and collectively make the commitment to become the best version of yourself. I am a learner. I love learning. I know you do as well. We both are committed to becoming the best version of Jim and the best version of Christie that we possibly can. And we want the best version of Team Jacobus. That is a shared core belief that we have. And that creates all kinds of values and things for us that I think gets us out of that problem number 1 of trying to control and change and cure somebody. Because like you said it, when I'm trying to change and grow, I realize how hard it is. It's not easy to do some things. Right now, you and I are trying to get healthier in 2024, and we're trying to eat better. And we have got a good plan, and we're working that plan, but it's not necessarily easy.
Right.
So I think when we say, look, I want to be the best man I can be. I want to be the most loving, kind, full of integrity, character man that I can possibly be, because 1, I want to be that guy. And 2 is I believe you deserve the best. Committing to become the best version of yourself kind of helps take your eye off the ball of being critical of your spouse.
Right. And I think it's up to us individually. And I think we said this when we were talking about change, is I get to determine what the best version of myself is. But I also want you to hold me accountable for the things that I said I want to do, because change is hard. Habits and all that don't always come easily, but we can work together to support the other person. So
yeah, well, and it's not out of the ordinary for either one of us. I think because we've adopted this position, these core beliefs and everything, it's not out of the ordinary for either one of us to say to the other, "Hey, is there something I can do to make it better around here? Is there something I can do to make you feel more loved? Is there something I can do to make you happier? What can I do to help around the house? What can I do?" We regularly do stuff like that. When we have our Sunday night meetings, we're talking about what are we going to be doing the next week? How can I help? And I think that's a byproduct of not being critical, not demanding change, not being controlling. I think that's a byproduct of it. So, and by the way, committing to be the best version of yourself means that we can learn all kinds of cool stuff and get better of it. Right now, I'm pursuing becoming the best version of a pickleball player I can possibly be. And I owe that to the world out there to be. Okay, now maybe too far, but anyway, but no, I think that's critical. And in a relationship, if both of us are getting better, then the marriage gets better, plain and simple.
Core belief number 3 is really foundational too, because it speaks to what marriage should be.
I'll grab this one. God ordained marriage. So, and by the way, God ordained marriage for a lot of reasons. But I think at a really core belief level, and the core belief that you and I have is a God ordained marriage so that you and I could learn to love each other the way he loved us. Right? The way he loved us was he loved us unconditionally. And like I said earlier, no matter how far we run, no matter how bad we are, no matter what we do, God loves us. He's always there to pick us up. He's full of grace toward our shortcomings. But that's the kind of love that I want to demonstrate towards you, and certainly I'd love to have that in return. But the fun part about that, babe, is that it displays itself in so many ways that the world's love does not, in the sense that this marriage is one place where I feel safe. I feel safe to be who I am. I feel safe to make mistakes. I feel safe to be transparent and tell you how I feel. I feel safe to ask for what I want. I feel safe and not afraid that somehow you're going to do me wrong, or you're going to go away, or I'm going to be disappointed, just like God's love is safe. And so that's what I love about, I think, where have gotten to, and not by any means arrived, but there's so much more we can do in this area where we really experience that unconditional love from each other, no matter if we're late or if whatever is going on. We're absolutely still madly in love with each other, and we know that neither one of us is going anywhere.
Yes, and I'm not trying to belittle some of the challenges that people have in marriage, or some of the irritations or frustrations or things that you want to change, problems that you need help to control or cure, because there are significant and serious problems in marriage. But a lot of times, if we go back to what's at the heart of the matter, you love the other person, you want to do for the other person out of that feeling of how God loves us. And so I go back to, a lot of times, okay, what's the simplest thing? And this is simple. We want to love like God loved us. So, or God loves us.
Yep. That is, and to me, that is the most important pursuit of or one of the most important pursuits of our marriage, is to learn how to love like that, because that's what God intended to be, and that's smack dab in the middle of His will for our lives too. So, so gang, we're talking about a blueprint for marriage this month. Core beliefs, habits, actions. Core beliefs, thoughts, actions, and habits, and how they determine our behaviors. We'll be tackling thoughts next week, which I think is going to be really important. We're going to have some fun with that. But babe, I'm so excited about this series. I'm excited about all of these things. Here's a little bit of homework for everybody. And this is from page 2 of our Your Marriage Matters 52 Great Conversations book. First thing is, I want you to answer the question, who's been the most significant influence on the person you have become? And what are the top 3 or 5 ways they've impacted who you are? Particularly how they impacted your core beliefs. And I want you to write all that down and then share that with each other this week, and have some fun talking about your core beliefs. I think you'll be surprised to find out a few new things about each other, babe, which is something we can do. And by the way, if you want to buy the book, it's available on Amazon. It's also available on our website, yourmarriagematters.com, under resources. And we'd love for you to have that book. If not, nonetheless, here's a conversation for you to have this week. And we'll be sharing conversations like this every week as we move forward. So don't forget to sign up for the Cupid Challenge 2024. That is going to be a fun time in September. You can get that at, how about that? www.yourmarriagematters.com/CC24. And babe, 2024 is here. I'm excited about it. I love you. What anything you want to leave with everybody before we get out of here?
Well, just this, I hope as the year starts off, you're filled with some excitement for the future. A lot of times we can get bogged down in the negative and everything too, but find habits daily like this that we're talking about, the core beliefs that kind of center and ground you around the positive things, or the things you have for which to be grateful. And that too probably speaks to one of our core beliefs, is the importance of gratitude in our lives. So I am so grateful to be able to do this with you. So thanks, hon. Happy birthday. And I love you very much.
Babe, thank you. And I too am grateful for doing this with you. I feel like the luckiest guy in the world that we are sharing this crazy, amazing, fun life together. And gang, that's what we want for you. The reason we do this podcast is because we believe your marriage matters. We want to do everything we can to help you experience everything you dreamed of when you said I do, because your marriage matters to you. It matters to your kids, to your family, to your neighborhood, to your community, to your work. And above all things, we want you to know that it matters to us. And so we're going to keep doing this. If you have any questions for us, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find this on our YouTube channel, Your Marriage Matters, on our Facebook group, Your Marriage Matters. You'll be able to find this on Instagram under Team Jacobus, or you can just go to the website, yourmarriagematters.com/172 and get all of these things. Gang, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Do us a favor. If you got something out of this, send a link to somebody. Tell them about it. We're going to be growing a lot this year, and a lot of it's going to have to do with your help, and we very much appreciate that. Give us a review on wherever you found this, Spotify, iTunes. We'd appreciate that as well. And babe, 2024 is going to be great. I can't tell you how much I love and appreciate you, sweetheart. You are the best.
I love you too.